Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So on the table, I'm not going to be really doing a review. This is more of an open question to the viewers and subscribers that I have watching this video. And really the question boils down to, if you had to choose between a P-07 and a Glock 19 for concealed carry, for all-around use, which would you go with? Now, both guns have positives and negatives, and I really don't want this to be about fanboyism, because let's be honest, you have your CZ fanboys, you've got your Glock fanboys, and neither one of those parties is probably going to see eye to eye on the answer to this question. So I'd like to try to keep an open mind about this. Now, in regards to positive features, look, let's be honest, the Glock 19 has a lot of positives for it, and one of those positives is definitely the fact that this is a proven firearm. This is proven in the law enforcement field, the military field, and of course the consumer field. And this is probably one of the most widely used handguns in the world. I think the Glock 19 for me is kind of like a multi-tool. It can be used for anything, range, concealed carry, duty, you name it. And I think from that perspective, it has a lot of good qualities and traits. Now, of course, is it the prettiest gun in the world? Nope. Does it have the best sights coming out of the box? No. Is it the best trigger in the world? No. But is it extremely reliable and extremely useful in pretty much all situations? I would say yes. The CZ P-07, again, if you look at the positives of it, the positives are extremely reliable. It pretty much handles itself with any kind of ammunition you use. It's a finely tuned machine, in my opinion. Everything about it screams quality and quality craftsmanship. The trigger, since it is a double single action, you do have a heavy double action, around 10 pounds, maybe a little bit heavier than that. But it's about 10 pounds on the double action pull. Single action pull is about, 4.5, 5 pounds. So, I mean, it's not the lightest trigger in the world, but it is a pretty smooth trigger, especially once you break it in. Now, neither one of these guns is loaded. There's no ammunition in the guns, so it has been checked before the video. But even the trigger, even though it is a heavy double action trigger, one of the things I will tell you, the single action is very sweet, very smooth. It has a little play, but then it breaks. So, I mean, it's a nice trigger system. I would say for a double action, it's a good one. It's not the best, obviously, but it is very good. And, to carry this gun is, in my opinion, on equal footing with the Glock 19. So the question I really have is, if you were going to pick one, which would it be and why? Now, negative features for both. I think the biggest negative is probably the ergonomics of the Glock 19. There's a lot of people out there that just can't hold one of these and enjoy the gun. For me, I actually like it. It's not too bad. However, I will tell you, I am quite spoiled because I do have PPQs, I do have a VP9s, and a bunch of other CZs that have much better ergonomics than this firearm right here. So I think the ergonomics right now for this is sort of a negative. It doesn't fit everybody's hands equally, and it doesn't feel good in everybody's hands, and I think that's kind of a negative feature of it. Another negative feature is, the sights. I mean, the stock sights that come with the Glock, they're not horrible, but they're not great. I mean, it's polymer, they're not too good, but I think they do that because they know most people will try to upgrade on their own anyway. Trigger-wise, the trigger itself, again, everything's clear. The trigger isn't great, but it's not too bad. I mean, there's some take up, and then, of course, you get your break. The reset is a pretty crisp reset right there, and then you get your break again. So it's not a horrible trigger. Is it the best? No, but it doesn't have to be, especially for a self-defense weapon. It just has to go bang every time you pull it. So, I mean, it's not the best trigger. It's not the worst trigger, but I think a lot of people would say it is a detraction of the firearm. Again, the sights, once you upgrade it, the gun runs smooth. The ergonomics, there's really not much you can do with that. I mean, yeah, you can sand this down. You might want to restipple it, maybe make the undercut a little bit deeper. But other than that, this is what you're going to get. So if it doesn't fit your hand, you're never going to be a Glock fan. It's just the way it is. Now, for the P-07, I have to admit, it does fit my hand a little bit nicer. It is, in my opinion, also much narrower compared to, let's say, the Glock 19, as you can see right there. However, it's not the best ergonomic pistol in the world. The stippling is a little bit, not too good. That's why I put these traction grips on there. Some of the other things that I don't think are so good on this is I can't stand the size of this decocker and the slide lock. They're just enormous. And do they really need to be? Probably not. I've already made mention of that in a previous video. But again, that's something that isn't necessarily an issue, but at the same time, it's not the easiest one to get around, especially if you're trying to reach for that, if you're trying to reach for the slide lock and you're trying to release it. If you have small thumbs, you're not going to be able to drop that. It's just a little bit too far, a little bit not a little bit less ergo-friendly than some other firearms, obviously. Again, if you want to talk about a negative for the CZ, the aftermarket on the CZ, just not that good. I mean, it's just not. Yes, you can get some aftermarket sights. Yes, they obviously make some holsters for it. You can take it to Cajun Gun Works, but still, the aftermarket, not that good, as opposed to a Glock 19, which pretty much makes anything and everything for a Glock 19. Barrels, sights, holsters, magazines, trigger kits, you name it. So overall, both good quality firearms. Overall, you couldn't go wrong with either one, in my opinion. But my question is to all of you, if you had to choose, which one would it be and why? Would you carry one of these as opposed to the other? Would you carry neither of them? Tell me what you think. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Hopefully you're having a great night out there. And as always, freedom is never free.